We're told that finding your fated mate is the ultimate blessing, that the moon goddess herself weaves two souls together with threads of destiny, that when you meet them, everything broken inside you will finally make sense. They say the mate bond is sacred, unbreakable, a promise written in the stars before you were even born. But when you're standing in front of 300 wolves, and the man whose name has been carved into your soul since birth looks at you with nothing but disgust, you learn the devastating truth. Destiny doesn't give a damn about your heart. Some bonds aren't made to be honored. Some are made to be shattered. And when the alpha, your mate, the one person in this world who was supposed to see you, points his finger at you like you're something rotten that needs to be removed, you realize that all those fairy tales about true love and happily ever after? They were lies we tell ourselves to survive the cruelty of what actually happens when fate gets it wrong. You're defective, he says, and his voice carries across the ceremonial hall like a death sentence. I reject you as my mate before this pack. Leave my territory tonight. The words don't hurt at first. They're too big, too impossible. They hang in the air like smoke, and for one blissful moment, you think maybe you misheard. Maybe this is some kind of test. Maybe he'll smile and say he was joking, that of course he wants you, that everything is going to be okay. But then you see his eyes, those cold, merciless eyes that should have softened when they found yours, and you understand. He means every word. 300 wolves watch as you break. They watch as the invisible thread between you and him snaps, severing with a pain so visceral you actually stagger. Someone gasps, someone else whispers, but no one moves to catch you. Because in this world, defective she-wolves don't get second chances. And tonight, you have 8 hours to disappear before the pack enforcers hunt you down like the unwanted thing you've always been. Before we begin, if you love emotional werewolf romance with broken characters finding redemption, you'll want to check out this book titled Rejected by the Alpha, link in the description below. Now, let's dive into our story. Chapter 1. The Broken Wolf. My name is Callista, and I have never shifted. 23 years old, and I've never felt my bones crack and reform. Never felt fur ripple across my skin. Never experienced the euphoria that other wolves describe when they talk about their first transformation, that moment of pure, primal freedom, when the human falls away and the wolf emerges. I am broken in the most fundamental way a werewolf can be broken. The Silvercrest pack doesn't know what to do with me. For years, they've watched me with a mixture of pity and suspicion, waiting for my wolf to surface, waiting for me to become whole. My father, the pack's former beta before he retired in shame, tried everything: healers, rituals, even a witch from the Eastern Territories who smelled like graveyard dirt and made me drink something that tasted like rotting flowers. Nothing worked. Some wolves are born incomplete, the witch had said, her milky eyes staring through me rather than at me. The moon goddess makes mistakes sometimes. This girl, she's one of them. I was 16 when she said that, old enough to understand what it meant, old enough to see the way my father's shoulders slumped, the way my mother turned her face away so I wouldn't see her cry, old enough to know I would spend the rest of my life apologizing for existing. But then, 3 months ago, something impossible happened. I felt it. Not a shift. I still can't do that, but something deeper. A pull. A recognition that bypassed my broken body and spoke directly to whatever small, malformed piece of wolf soul I possessed. The mate bond. And it led me straight to him. Kieran Ashwood, alpha of the Silvercrest pack. 30 years old, powerful, respected, feared. The kind of wolf that other alphas whisper about with equal parts admiration and wariness. His bloodline is pure. His wolf massive and silver gray. His authority absolute. When I first felt the bond snap into place, I thought maybe, just maybe, this was the moon goddess's way of apologizing. Maybe I couldn't shift, but at least I had this. At least I had him. I was so stupid. For 3 months, I waited. The bond pulled at me constantly, a golden thread tied around my heart, always pointing toward him. I'd see him during pack meetings, during training sessions, during the communal meals in the Great Hall, and every single time, I waited for him to feel it too. Waited for his eyes to find mine. Waited for recognition. It never came. He looked through me the way everyone else did. Like I was furniture. Like I was nothing. My father told me to be patient. The Alpha is busy, he said, though his voice lacked conviction. When the time is right, he'll acknowledge the bond. My mother was more honest. Maybe it's better if he doesn't, she whispered one night when she thought I was asleep. What kind of life would you have as his mate? You can't even shift, Callista. You can't run with the pack. You can't hunt. You can't fight. What would you give him except shame? I pretended I hadn't heard her, pretended the words didn't carve themselves into my chest. But she was right. 2 weeks ago, my father sat me down in his study. The room still smelled like old leather and pipe smoke, though he'd stopped smoking years ago. He couldn't meet my eyes. The Alpha has requested your presence, he said carefully. Tonight, in the ceremonial hall. My heart had leapt. Finally, he was going to acknowledge the bond. There's something else, my father continued, and the tone of his voice made my joy curdle into dread. Your sister, Mira. She's coming home, Mira. My older sister. Beautiful. Powerful. Perfect Mira. Who shifted for the first time at 13 and never looked back. Who left the Silvercrest pack 5 years ago to train with the elite warriors in the north. Who sends letters full of her accomplishments but never once asks about me. Why? I asked, though I already knew. My father finally looked at me, and the pity in his eyes was worse than any insult. The Alpha is considering options for his Luna, Mira is. She's a strong candidate. The meaning was clear. I wasn't. But the bond, the mate bond, was sacred. It didn't matter what Kieran was considering. The moon goddess had chosen. He was mine, and I was his, and nothing could change that. Right? Tonight, standing in the ceremonial hall with 300 wolves watching, I learned exactly how wrong I was. The hall is ancient, all stone and timber and stained glass windows that cast colored light across the gathered pack. I'm wearing the only formal dress I own, deep green silk that my mother altered 3 times to make it fit properly. My dark hair is pulled back with a silver circlet that belonged to my grandmother. I wanted to look worthy. Wanted to look like someone an Alpha could be proud of. Kieran stands on the raised platform at the front of the hall. He's wearing traditional ceremonial leathers, black and silver, and his presence dominates the space. Even without his wolf visible, you can feel his power pressing against your skin. His dark hair is pulled back, revealing a face that's all sharp angles and cold authority. Handsome in a way that's almost cruel. Next to him stands Mira. She's radiant. Blonde hair falling in perfect waves. Blue eyes bright with triumph. She's wearing a dress that probably cost more than everything I own, combined midnight blue with silver embroidery that catches the light. She looks like what a Luna should look like. She looks nothing like me. When I enter, the crowd parts. Whispers follow me like shadows. I can feel their judgment, their curiosity, their pity. But they don't know about the bond. At least, I thought they didn't. I stop at the base of the platform, looking up at Kieran. The mate bond thrums between us, golden and insistent. Surely he feels it now. Surely this close. He can't ignore it anymore. His eyes meet mine, and for one heartbeat, I see something flicker there. Recognition. Awareness. Then his lip curls in disgust. Callista Thorne, he says, his voice carrying across the silent hall. Formal. Cold. You've been summoned here tonight as a witness. Witness? Not as his mate? The bond pulls tighter, almost painful now. I can feel it, trying to reach him, trying to make him understand. But he's built walls around himself, thick and impenetrable. I, Kieran Ashwood, Alpha of the Silvercrest Pack, do hereby announce my intention to claim Mira Thorne as my Luna and mate. The words hit me like physical blows. The crowd erupts in cheers and howls of approval. Mira smiles, radiant and victorious, and I just stand there, frozen, as my world disintegrates. No, I whisper, but the word is lost in the celebration. Kieran's eyes haven't left mine. There's something dark in them now, something that might be anger or might be shame. However, he continues, and his voice cuts through the noise like a blade. The hall falls silent again. There is one matter that must be addressed first. He steps down from the platform, moving toward me with predatory grace. Every instinct I have screams at me to run, but I can't move. The mate bond holds me in place, still singing its lies about destiny and belonging. He stops in front of me. Up close, he's overwhelming, taller, broader, radiating dominance. The scent of him fills my lungs, pine and smoke and something wild. "You feel it, don't you?" he says quietly, just loud enough for me to hear. The bond. Hope flares in my chest. "Yes, you feel it too?" "I feel it," he confirms. And for one beautiful moment, I think everything is going to be okay. Then he raises his voice so the entire pack can hear, which is why I must do this properly. He takes a step back, lifts his chin, and says the words that will haunt me for the rest of my life. "You're defective. I reject you as my mate before this pack. Leave my territory tonight." The bond doesn't break cleanly. It tears. I feel it rip through my chest like claws, shredding everything soft and vital inside me. I can't breathe, can't think. The pain is so intense that my vision whites out for a moment. When it clears, I'm on my knees. I don't remember falling. Kieran is still standing over me, his face carved from stone. "You have until dawn," he says. "After that, you'll be considered a rogue." And we hunt rogues. Someone in the crowd laughs. Others join in. The sound is worse than the pain. I look up at Mira, desperate for what? Help? Sympathy? Some acknowledgement that we're sisters, that she should care that I'm being destroyed? She's not even looking at me. She's looking at Kieran with devotion in her eyes. My father is somewhere in the crowd. I can't find him. He doesn't come forward. No one comes forward. I'm alone. I force myself to stand, even though every movement feels like I'm tearing something vital. The broken bond writhes in my chest like a living thing, screaming for something that's no longer there. "I understand, Alpha," I hear myself say. My voice sounds surprisingly steady, distant, like it belongs to someone else. I turn and walk toward the doors. Each step is agony. Behind me, the celebration resumes louder now, triumphant. They're already forgetting me. I don't cry. Not yet. I don't let myself break until I'm outside, until the cool night air hits my face, until I'm far enough away that no one can hear me scream. 8 hours until dawn. 8 hours to leave behind everything I've ever known. 8 hours to figure out how to survive as a broken, rejected, wolfless girl in a world that has no mercy for the weak. Chapter 2. I have nothing. That's the thought that keeps circling through my mind as I stand in my childhood bedroom, staring at the small pile of belongings on my bed. A change of clothes, a water flask, a hunting knife that my father gave me when I was 12, back when he still had hope I might become something useful. 8 hours has become 6. My hands won't stop shaking. The torn bond in my chest pulses with each heartbeat, a constant reminder of what I've lost, what I never really had to begin with. The house is quiet. Too quiet. My parents' bedroom door is closed, and I can hear low voices behind it. My father's deep rumble, my mother's higher pitch. They're talking about me, probably. Discussing how quickly they can erase the evidence of their failure from pack memory. They haven't come to say goodbye. Neither has Mira, but I didn't expect her to. She's probably still at the celebration, basking in her victory. Future Luna of the Silvercrest pack. Everything I should have been. I shoulder my pathetic bag and move toward the door. My wolf, or whatever broken fragment of one exists inside me, whimpers. Even damaged, even incomplete, it knows we're leaving home, knows we'll never come back. Going somewhere? I freeze. The voice comes from the shadows near my window. Tobias Reed steps into the moonlight filtering through my curtains. He's my age, the son of the pack's head enforcer, and one of the few wolves who's ever spoken to me like I'm a person rather than a problem. We grew up together, back before my defect became impossible to ignore. "You shouldn't be here," I whisper. "If anyone sees you, they won't." He moves closer, and I can see the concern etched into his features. Tobias is handsome in an understated way, sandy hair, warm brown eyes, the kind of face that makes you feel safe. "Callista, please tell me you have a plan. Somewhere to go." I don't answer. Can't answer. Because the truth is, I have nowhere. No pack will take in a rejected, wolfless female. I'll be rogue by default, which means I'll be hunted on sight by any pack whose territory I cross. That's what I thought. Tobias reaches into his jacket and pulls out a small pouch. The clink of coins is unmistakable. Take it. It's not much, but it'll get you to the neutral zones. Maybe find passage to the human territories. I can't take your money. You can and you will. He presses the pouch into my hands. His fingers are warm, alive in a way that makes me painfully aware of how cold I've become. Please, Callista, let me help you. For a moment, I consider it. Consider what it would mean if someone like Tobias came with me. If I didn't have to face exile alone, but then I see the flash of pain in his eyes, quickly hidden. And I understand. He pities me. Everyone pities me. Thank you, I say quietly, tucking the pouch into my bag. But you should go, before someone realizes you're missing from the celebration. He hesitates, looking like he wants to say more. Then he nods once, and slips back toward the window. Be safe, Callista. You deserve better than what he did to you. Then he's gone, and I'm alone again. I leave through the back door, avoiding the main roads where pack members might still be wandering home from the ceremony. The moon is 3/4 full, bright enough to light my way through the forest paths I've walked my entire life. I should feel something. Fear, anger, grief. Instead, I just feel hollow. The pack house disappears behind me. Then the training grounds. Then the last of the houses that mark the inner territory. With each step, the invisible ties that bound me to this place fray and snap. By the time I reach the border, a line of ancient oak trees marked with the Silvercrest sigil, I'm not even sure what I am anymore. Not a pack wolf, not anyone's mate, not even fully wolf. Just broken. I'm about to cross the border when I hear footsteps behind me. My first thought is that it's Tobias again, but the gait is wrong. Heavier, more deliberate. I turn and find myself face to face with Benedict Crane. Every survival instinct I have starts screaming. Benedict is the pack's tax collector, a position that sounds bureaucratic but is anything but. He's the one who enforces the Alpha's financial decrees, who collects tribute from pack members, who has the authority to seize property and assets from those who fail to meet their obligations. He's also a beta wolf, not powerful enough to challenge for Alpha, but strong enough to make life hell for anyone who crosses him. He's watching me with cold calculation, his gray eyes reflecting the moonlight like coins. Callista Thorne, he says, his voice smooth as oiled leather. Out for a midnight stroll? I'm leaving, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. As ordered. Ah, yes, the rejection. He steps closer, circling me slowly. Such a waste. Your father was a good beta once, loyal, useful, and your sister, well, she's proven her worth admirably. I don't respond. Don't move. Wolves like Benedict are predators, and showing fear is an invitation. Tell me, he continues, stopping directly in front of me. Where exactly do you plan to go? You have no pack, no protection, no ability to shift or defend yourself. How long do you think you'll survive out there? That's not your concern. Actually, it is. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. You see, your family owes a rather substantial debt to the pack. Your father's medical expenses, your mother's treatments, all those healers and witches they brought in trying to fix you. That kind of attention doesn't come cheap. Ice floods my veins. That's not my father paid those debts. I saw the records. He paid some of them, not all. There's still the matter of 6,000 silver marks. Benedict pulls a rolled parchment from his coat. With interest, of course. 6,000 marks. That's more money than my family will see in 5 years. I don't have that kind of money, I whisper. I know, but perhaps we can come to an arrangement. He moves closer, and I can smell the tobacco and whiskey on his breath. You're not entirely without value, Callista. Even broken things can be useful. Every part of me wants to run, but there's nowhere to run to. And if my family is in debt, if I'm the reason they're in debt, then running only makes things worse for them. What kind of arrangement? I ask carefully. Benedict's smile widens, The king is looking for servants, human servants, specifically. But I think a defective wolf would serve just as well. Can't shift, can't fight back, perfectly obedient. He's willing to pay quite handsomely for the right candidates. The king. He means Theron Blackthorn, the wolf king who rules all the packs from his castle in the northern mountains. I've never seen him. Few wolves outside the alpha elite have, but the stories about him are legend. Brutal, merciless. They say he once executed an entire pack for disloyalty, that he keeps humans as slaves in his castle, that he hasn't taken a mate because no wolf is strong enough to stand beside him. They also say he's cursed, that something happened to him years ago that left him wrong, twisted, more monster than man. You want to sell me to the king? I say flatly. I want to resolve a debt, Benedict corrects. What happens after that is between you and his majesty, but I can tell you this serve him well for 5 years, and your family's debt will be cleared. You might even earn your freedom at the end of it. 5 years. 5 years as a servant to a monster. And if I refuse? Benedict's expression hardens. Then I'll be forced to seize your family's assets to cover the debt. Their home. Your father's pension. Everything. They'll be packless and destitute. Your sister's chances of becoming Luna will evaporate. No alpha wants a mate from a disgraced family. He's trapped me perfectly. Refuse, and I destroy what's left of my family. Accept, and I trade one prison for another. But at least this way, they'll be safe. Mira can have her perfect life. My parents can salvage some dignity. And me? I was already nothing. At least this way. My nothing means something. How long do I have to decide? I ask. You don't. Benedict produces a contract from his coat. He came prepared, which means this was always his plan. You cross that border, you become a rogue. You sign this, you become employed. Those are your options. I take the parchment with numb fingers. The terms are written in precise script. 5 years of service, room and board provided, debt cleared upon completion. There's a clause about obedience, another about termination conditions. It's all very official, very legal, very much a trap. But what choice do I have? I think about my father's face when he couldn't meet my eyes, my mother's whispered words about shame, Mira standing beside Kieran like she belonged there. I think about the torn bond in my chest that still hasn't stopped screaming. I think about being utterly, completely alone. Where do I sign? I hear myself ask. Benedict produces a knife and holds it out. Blood signature. More binding that way. Of course it is. I take the knife and press it to my palm. The sting is sharp and immediate. I let 3 drops fall onto the contract, then press my bloody palm against the signature line. The moment my blood touches the parchment, I feel something click into place. Magic, probably. The contract glows briefly, then the light fades. It's done. Benedict rolls up the parchment with obvious satisfaction. Excellent. The king's carriage leaves at dawn from the pack house. Be there, or the contract is void and the debt comes due immediately. He walks away without another word, disappearing into the forest like he was never there. I stand at the border, no longer sure which side I belong on. The bag Tobias gave me hangs heavy on my shoulder. The cut on my palm throbs. 4 hours until dawn. 4 hours until I leave for a castle in the mountains to serve a king I've never met. 4 hours until my old life ends, and something new, something terrible begins. I don't cry. I'm done crying. Instead, I turn away from the border and walk back toward the pack house. My steps are steady, purposeful. If I'm going to be sold, I might as well show up on time. Behind me, the forest whispers with wolves returning home from the celebration. They're probably still talking about the Alpha's announcement. About beautiful Mira and her bright future. No one mentions the broken girl who's already been forgotten, which is fine. Let them forget. Where I'm going, my name won't matter anyway. Chapter 3. The Dark Castle. The carriage that arrives at dawn is black lacquered wood reinforced with iron, pulled by 4 massive draft horses that look like they could trample a wolf without breaking stride. No crest marks the door. No banner flies from the driver's seat. Everything about it screams discretion. Or secrecy. Benedict is already waiting when I arrive, along with 3 other figures huddled in the pre-dawn darkness. 2 women, and a man, all human by the scent of them, or lack thereof. They keep their eyes down, their shoulders hunched. They've done this before. I realize. They know what's coming. Ah, punctual, Benedict says when he sees me. I appreciate professionalism. Inside, the carriage door swings open, revealing a dark interior with bench seats along both sides. The other 3 file in without a word. I follow, my bag clutched against my chest like armor. The door slams shut. A lock clicks. We sit in darkness as the carriage lurches into motion. No one speaks for the first hour. The only sounds are the rhythmic clip of hooves on stone, the creak of wheels, the occasional jingle of harnesses. I can feel the other's fear like a physical presence, pressing against my skin. Finally, the woman sitting across from me breaks the silence. First time? Her voice is hoarse, like she's been screaming. Yes, I admit. Thought so. You don't have the look yet. She shifts, and a sliver of light from a crack in the shuttered window illuminates half her face. She's older than I first thought, maybe 40, with graying hair and deep lines around her eyes. The look of someone who knows they're already dead. Hannah, the man beside her says sharply. Don't what? Tell her the truth? Hannah laughs, bitter and broken. She deserves to know what she's walking into. She'll find out soon enough. Exactly. So why not prepare her? The other woman, younger, maybe my age, presses herself further into the corner. She hasn't looked up once since we started moving. Hannah leans forward. You're wolf kind, aren't you? I can tell by the bone structure, even if you don't smell right. What are you doing in a human cattle car? I'm defective. I say quietly. I can't shift. Ah. Something like sympathy flickers in her eyes. So they threw you away. Typical. Wolves don't tolerate imperfection in their ranks. She settles back. Well, broken wolf girl. Welcome to the bottom of the food chain. We're all defective here. What did you do? I ask. To end up here? The man answers this time. Wrong place, wrong time. I witnessed something I shouldn't have, a pack enforcer taking bribes from human traffickers. He gave me a choice. Serve the king for 5 years, or disappear permanently. He touches his throat. I chose service. I chose nothing, the young woman whispers, speaking for the first time. Her voice is barely audible. They just took me. The carriage goes silent again. The king doesn't care how you got there, Hannah says eventually. He doesn't care about your story, your circumstances, your excuses. All that matters is that you obey, you serve, you survive, if you're lucky. What's he like? I ask. The king? All 3 of them tense visibly. We don't talk about the king, the man says firmly. Why not? Because talking about him in the castle is dangerous, Hannah says. Because the walls have ears, and loyalty is measured in silence. Because... She cuts herself off, shaking her head. You'll understand when you meet him. If you meet him. Most servants never do. They serve the castle. Not the king directly. Then who do we serve? The household staff, the visiting nobles, the warriors, anyone who outranks you, which is everyone. Hannah's smile is grim. Think of yourself as furniture, broken wolf girl. Useful furniture that occasionally needs to be dusted and maintained. But furniture nonetheless. The carriage hits a rut, jostling us violently. The young woman whimpers. How long? I ask. How long have you all been serving? This is my 3rd year, the man says. My 4th, Hannah adds. 2 more and I'm free, if I live that long. The young woman says nothing. We travel for 3 more hours. The sun rises somewhere beyond our shuttered windows, casting thin bars of light across our faces. No one offers food or water. No one checks on us. We're cargo, not passengers. When the carriage finally stops, I feel the change in the air immediately. It's colder here, sharp with mountain wind. The smell of pine and stone and something else, something ancient and watchful. The door opens. Out, says a voice I don't recognize. Male, clipped, efficient. We stumble into blinding daylight. I blink rapidly, trying to adjust, and when my vision clears, I see it. The castle. It rises from the mountainside, like something grown rather than built. All black stone and soaring towers and walls that seem to absorb light rather than reflect it. Windows glitter like eyes, battlements bristle with guards. The main gates are open, revealing a courtyard paved in dark marble that gleams like oil. It's beautiful in the way a knife is beautiful, elegant, deadly, wrong. Move, the voice commands. I tear my eyes away from the castle and look at our greeter. He's wolf-kind, obviously tall and broad with the kind of casual strength that comes from regular shifting. He wears black livery marked with a silver wolf's head. His expression is utterly neutral, like we're no more interesting than packages to be delivered. We follow him through the gates. The courtyard is enormous, easily large enough to hold 300 wolves. Stone fountains sit at regular intervals, but they're not running. The water in their basins is dark and still. Servants move along the edges. Humans mostly, with a few wolves mixed in. They all wear the same black livery. They all keep their eyes down. We're led to a side entrance, down a set of stone stairs that descend into the castle's lower levels. The temperature drops with each step. The walls here are rough-hewn stone, unadorned and functional. Torches provide minimal light. We pass cells, actual cells with iron bars and stone floors. Most are empty, but I catch glimpses of figures in some of them. Prisoners? Servants who broke the rules? No one explains. The escort stops at a heavy wooden door. Women here, men through there. He points down another corridor. The man from our carriage is escorted away without ceremony. The door opens to reveal a large stone chamber. A dozen other women are inside, all in various states of undress. Some are washing at stone basins. Others are folding linens. They barely glance at us when we enter. "Strip," says a new voice. An older woman emerges from the shadows, wolf-kind, probably in her 60s, with iron-gray hair pulled back in a severe bun. She wears the same black livery, but hers has a silver pin at the collar. Authority. "I'm Mistress Vera," she says. "I manage the female servants. You will obey me without question. You will perform your duties without complaint. You will cause no trouble." Her eyes scan us coldly. "Strip. You'll be washed, issued uniforms, and assigned quarters. Your personal belongings will be stored. You may reclaim them when your service ends, if it ends. If." Hannah starts undressing immediately, her movements mechanical. The young woman hesitates, tears streaming down her face. I look at my bag, the only thing I brought from my old life. Tobias's coins, my father's knife, a few pieces of clothing. Nothing worth keeping, really. I set it down and begin removing my dress. The washing is humiliating. We're scrubbed by other servants using rough soap and cold water, inspected for lice and disease, our hair pulled and examined. I'm grateful for the callousness of it. There's no pretense of care or dignity, just efficiency. When we're deemed clean enough, we're issued uniforms. Black wool dresses that fall to mid-calf, white aprons, simple leather shoes. The fabric is coarse but sturdy, practical. I catch sight of myself in a polished metal plate someone's using as a mirror. I look like every other servant now, interchangeable, anonymous, perfect. "You," Mistress Vera says, pointing at me, "the defective wolf. You'll serve the upper floors initially, light cleaning, errands, message running. If you prove competent, your duties may expand. If you prove incompetent..." She doesn't finish the sentence, doesn't need to. "Yes, mistress," I say. She nods, satisfied. "Marta will show you to quarters. You start tomorrow at dawn. Use tonight to orient yourself. Learn the layout. Stay out of the restricted areas, they're marked with red doors. Enter one, and you'll be punished. Possibly executed. Am I clear?" "Yes, mistress." A young woman, Marta, presumably steps forward. She's wolf-kind too, maybe 25, with tired eyes and a scar running down her left cheek. "Follow me," she says quietly. We climb stairs. Many stairs. The castle is a maze of corridors and chambers, all cold stone and flickering torches. I try to memorize the route, but everything looks the same. Left, right, up, through a gallery with paintings of wolves in battle, down again, past a library, through a servant's passage. Finally, We reach a dormitory. 20 beds line the walls, each with a small trunk at its foot. Most are occupied by sleeping servants, the night shift, probably. That one's yours, Marta says, pointing to an empty bed near the window. Keep your area clean. Don't touch anyone else's belongings. Don't be late for duty. Don't backtalk the nobles. Don't. She pauses, then says more carefully, don't attract attention. Any attention. Understand? I understand. She studies me for a moment, and something almost like pity crosses her face. You're wolf kind. Even if you can't shift, your senses are probably better than the humans. Use them. Learn to hear trouble coming. Learn which corridors to avoid at certain times. Learn which nobles are dangerous and which are merely cruel. They're not the same thing? No. She turns to leave, then stops. One more thing. Sometimes, late at night, you'll hear things. Roaring, screaming, breaking furniture. Ignore it. Don't investigate. Don't try to help. Just stay in your bed and pretend you're deaf. What is it? I ask. What makes those sounds? Marta's expression shudders. The king, she whispers. And you pray you never find out why. Then she's gone, and I'm alone in a room full of sleeping strangers. I sit on my assigned bed. The mattress is thin but clean. The blanket is wool, scratchy but warm. Through the window, I can see mountains stretching endlessly in every direction. We're so high up that clouds drift below us. Somewhere in this castle is the king. The Wolf King. Theron Blackthorn. The monster who owns me now. I touch my chest, where the torn mate bond still aches. Kieran rejected me less than 24 hours ago. It feels like years. I wonder if he's already forgotten me. I wonder if Mira is warming his bed. I wonder if my parents told anyone where I went. Or if they're just relieved I'm gone. I wonder if anyone would care if I disappeared entirely. Probably not. I lie back on the bed and stare at the ceiling. Somewhere above me, in the upper levels of this dark castle, a cursed king lives in isolation. And somewhere inside me, beneath the pain and exhaustion and resignation, a small voice whispers, what if this isn't the end? What if this is just a different kind of beginning? I tell the voice to shut up. Hope is a luxury I can't afford anymore. Chapter 4. I don't sleep. How can I? Every sound in this castle feels like a threat. Footsteps in distant corridors, doors opening and closing, the wind howling through the towers like something alive and angry. And beneath it all, so faint I almost convince myself I'm imagining it, a low, resonant growl that seems to come from the bones of the building itself. The other servants don't stir. They're used to it. I will never get used to it. Dawn comes gray and cold. A bell rings somewhere deep in the castle, 3 sharp peals that jolt the dormitory awake. The servants rise as one, moving with practiced efficiency. No one speaks. They dress, smooth their hair, straighten their aprons, and file out in near silence. I follow, still learning the choreography. We're fed in a large kitchen that smells like bread and lard. Breakfast is porridge, weak tea, and a slice of dark bread. We eat standing, quickly. And then Mistress Vera appears with her ledger and begins assigning duties. Callista, she calls. Upper West Wing, 3rd floor, chambers 12 through 18. Dusting, linens, chamber pots. Report to Master Callum when you're finished. I nod and accept a bucket of cleaning supplies from another servant, a middle-aged human woman who presses them into my hands without meeting my eyes. The Upper West Wing. I remember passing through it yesterday. Or was it? The castle's geography already feels slippery in my mind, like it shifts when I'm not looking. I climb stairs until my legs burn. The 3rd floor is quieter than the lower levels, carpeted with thick rugs that muffle footsteps. The walls here are decorated tapestries depicting historical battles, sconces holding beeswax candles instead of cheap tallow, door frames carved with intricate wolf motifs. This is where the nobles stay. The visiting alphas and betas. The king's inner circle. I find chambers 12 through 18 and begin my work. The rooms are empty, thankfully. Most nobles are either still sleeping or already gone to whatever business occupies their mornings. I dust furniture, change linens, empty chamber pots into a slop bucket that I'll have to carry back down later. It's mindless work, degrading work. But it's also safe. No one bothers me. No one even notices me. I'm halfway through chamber 16 when I hear it. Voices. Coming from down the hall. Male voices. Low and urgent. Can't keep doing this. The council is getting suspicious. Let them be suspicious. What are they going to do? Challenge me? They might, especially if they knew the truth about. They know nothing. And they'll continue to know nothing. As long as you keep your mouth shut, Dorian. The voices are getting closer. I freeze, uncertain whether I should announce my presence or hide. Neither option feels safe. The door to chamber 16 swings open. 2 men enter. Both wolf-kind, both dressed in fine clothing that marks them as high-ranking. The first is probably 40, with dark hair graying at the temples and sharp, intelligent eyes. The second is younger, maybe 30, with blonde hair, and the kind of handsome face that probably gets him anything he wants. They stop when they see me. Who are you? The older one, Dorian, demands. Callista, my lord. Servant. I gesture helplessly at the half-dusted furniture. Out, he says coldly. I gather my supplies and move toward the door, keeping my eyes down. But as I pass the younger man, he catches my wrist. Wait. His grip is firm but not painful. He studies me with unsettling intensity. You're wolf-kind, I can tell, but you don't smell right. Why? I can't shift, my lord, I say quietly. I'm defective. His eyes widen slightly. Defective? And they sent you here? He glances at Dorian. How delightfully ironic. Release her, Lucien. We have more important matters to discuss. Lucien lets go of my wrist but continues staring at me. What pack? Silvercrest, my lord. Silvercrest. Ashwood's territory. Something flickers across his face. Amusement? Recognition? Tell me, defective wolf, does your alpha know you're here? The question feels like a trap. The alpha. Dismissed me, my lord. Dismissed. Such a polite word for it. Lucien smiles, and there's nothing kind in it. Run along, little broken thing. But stay alert. This castle has a way of collecting damaged souls. You'll fit right in. I flee before either of them can say more. My heart pounds as I rush down the corridor, the cleaning supplies rattling in my bucket. What did he mean by that? Why would it be ironic that I'm here? And why did he seem so interested in my connection to the Silvercrest pack? I'm so distracted that I don't notice the red door until I've already pushed it open. The realization hits me a second too late. Red door. Restricted area. Don't enter or face punishment. Possibly execution. I'm standing in a forbidden chamber. For a moment, I consider backing out quietly, pretending this never happened, but curiosity, stupid, dangerous curiosity, keeps me frozen in place. The room is enormous. And strange. It's part bedchamber, part library, part something else. Shelves line every wall, crammed with books and scrolls and strange objects I don't recognize. The furniture is massive, clearly built for someone very large. A desk dominates one corner, covered in papers and maps. The bed is a 4-poster monstrosity with black silk curtains. But what draws my attention is the damage. Deep claw marks score the wooden floor. Gouges in the stone walls, a shattered mirror. Furniture overturned and broken. One of the bedposts is snapped clean in half. This is where the sounds come from. The roaring, the breaking. This is the king's chamber. You shouldn't be here. The voice comes from everywhere and nowhere. Deep, resonant. It vibrates through my chest like a physical thing. I spin, searching for the source, and find only shadows. I'm sorry, Your Majesty, I say quickly. I didn't realize the door was open, and the door is never open. The voice moves, circling me, which means you opened it, which means you can't read, or you can read and chose to disobey. Which is it, little wolf? My mouth goes dry. I still can't see him, can't pinpoint where he is. My wolf senses limited as they are scream danger, but they can't locate the threat. I can read, Your Majesty. I made a mistake. Mistakes have consequences. The shadows in the corner shift, thicken. Do you know what happens to servants who enter forbidden chambers? Punishment, I whisper. Possibly execution. Exactly. Something moves in the darkness, something large. Tell me, little wolf, how do you want to die? Quickly or slowly? Terror floods my system. This is it. Less than 24 hours in the castle, and I've already signed my death warrant. But then I remember Kieran's face when he rejected me, the torn bond screaming in my chest, the certainty that I was already dead, just still walking around. If I'm going to die, I might as well die on my terms. I have a better idea, I hear myself say. Give me a riddle. The shadows stop moving. What? A riddle. My voice is steadier now. If I answer it correctly, you let me live. If I fail, you can kill me however you choose. But at least give me a chance to prove I'm worth more alive than dead. Silence stretches between us. Long enough that I start to think I've miscalculated catastrophically. Then the voice laughs. It's not a pleasant sound. It's dark and rusty, like something that hasn't been used in years. You want to bargain for your life with a riddle? Yes, Your Majesty. Why would I agree to that? Because you're bored, I say, the words tumbling out before I can stop them. Because you're alone in this castle, full of people who fear you but never challenge you. Because a riddle is more interesting than just another execution. More silence. Then, you're either very brave or very stupid. Probably both, Your Majesty. Another laugh, shorter this time. Fine, I'll give you your riddle, but I choose the terms. You get 3 guesses. 3 nights. Each night, you may offer one answer. If you guess correctly, you live. If you fail all 3 times. The shadows shift again, and I catch a glimpse of something massive and dark, and distinctly not human. Let's just say the slowly option becomes very appealing. 3 nights. 3 chances. It's more than I expected. I accept. Good. Here's your riddle, little wolf. Listen carefully, because I won't repeat it. I am given but never taken. I bind the strongest, break the weak. I can be kept for a lifetime, or shattered in a moment. Invisible chains that cannot be seen, yet they hold firmer than iron or steel. What am I? The words settle over me like a weight. I turn them over in my mind, searching for patterns, for meaning. May I ask questions, Your Majesty? No. The riddle is the riddle. You have until midnight tomorrow for your first answer. Don't be late. The presence in the shadows withdraws. Now get out. And Callista, he knows my name. How does he know my name? If you tell anyone about this arrangement, if you breathe a word about what you've seen in this chamber, the deal is void, and I'll make sure your death takes days. Understood? Yes, Your Majesty. Then go. I don't need to be told twice. I grab my bucket and flee, my hands shaking so badly I nearly drop the supplies twice. I don't stop running until I'm back in the servants' quarters, surrounded by humans who don't ask questions. Only then do I let myself process what just happened. I bargained with the Wolf King, with a creature who sounds more monster than man. And somehow, impossibly, I bought myself 3 days to live. The riddle circles in my mind. I am given but never taken. I bind the strongest, break the weak. What binds but can't be seen? What's stronger than iron? I have no idea. But I have until midnight tomorrow to figure it out. And if I fail, I'll discover exactly what kind of monster rules this dark castle. Chapter 5. The Beast in the Shadows. I spend the entire day thinking about the riddle. While I scrub floors, while I carry water, while I empty chamber pots and fold linens, the words circle endlessly through my mind. I am given but never taken. I bind the strongest, break the weak. Trust? No, trust can be taken, stolen even. Love? But love isn't always binding. Sometimes it sets you free. An oath? Closer, but oaths can be broken deliberately. The riddle said shattered in a moment, which implies accident or fragility, not choice. By evening, I'm no closer to an answer, and midnight is approaching fast. The other servants notice my distraction. Marta pulls me aside after dinner. You look like you've seen a ghost, she says quietly. What happened? Nothing. I'm just adjusting. She studies me with those tired eyes. You entered a restricted area, didn't you? My silence is answer enough. Which one? She asks. I can't say. Can't or won't. When I don't respond, she sighs. Listen to me, Callista. Whatever you saw, whatever happened, forget it. Pretend it didn't exist. The fastest way to die in this castle is to see too much and remember it. I know. Do you? She leans closer. 3 servants have disappeared in the last 6 months. Just gone. No bodies. No explanations. And all of them had one thing in common. They were too curious. They went places they shouldn't have gone. Saw things they shouldn't have seen. What kinds of things? Marta shakes her head. I don't know. And I don't want to know. That's how you survive here. Keep your head down. Do your work. Mind your own business. It's good advice. I have no intention of following it. Midnight comes too quickly. I lie in my bed, listening to the castle settle into its nighttime rhythms. The other servants sleep soundly. They have no reason to be awake. No death sentences hanging over their heads. When the castle bell tolls 12, I rise carefully and dress in the dark. My hands are shaking again. I hate that they shake, hate that my body betrays my fear. But I've never been good at pretending to be brave. I navigate the corridors by memory, and faint moonlight filtering through windows, up 3 flights of stairs. Through the gallery with the battle paintings, left at the ancient tapestry, showing the first Wolf King. Right down the corridor where I saw Dorian and Lucian arguing, and there at the end of the hall the red door. It's closed now. Locked, probably. But when I try the handle, it turns easily. He's expecting me. The chamber looks different at night. Moonlight streams through tall windows, casting everything in silver and shadow. The damage is more apparent now, claw marks catching the light, splintered wood, that shattered mirror reflecting fractured versions of the room. You came. The voice emerges from the darkness near the windows. I wasn't certain you would. I gave my word, Your Majesty. Words mean very little in my experience. People break them constantly. I can see him now. Sort of. A silhouette against the window, tall, impossibly broad, with something wrong about the proportions. Too large, too angular. He's draped in shadows like they're his natural element. I don't break my promises, I say. Everyone breaks their promises eventually. He moves, and I hear the soft pad of footsteps. Not boots, something else. Have you come with an answer, or to beg for more time? An answer. How confident. He sounds amused. Very well. What is your first guess? I take a breath. An oath. A promise made before witnesses, sealed with magic or blood. It binds those who make it, can last a lifetime, but can be shattered if the conditions are violated. Silence. Then, interesting, logical, wrong. My heart sinks, but not completely wrong, he continues. You're circling the truth. You have 2 guesses remaining. Use them wisely. May I ask why it's wrong? No, the riddle stands as given. Find your own path to the answer. He moves again, closer now. Tell me something, little wolf. Why did you really offer a riddle? The truth this time. I consider lying. But something about the darkness, about the anonymity of this conversation, makes honesty easier. Because I didn't want to die on my knees, I say quietly. Because if I'm going to be executed, I want it to be for something I chose, not just for being in the wrong place. Because... I pause, searching for words. Because I'm so tired of being powerless. The riddle was the only power I had in that moment. Power. He says the word like it tastes bitter. Is that what you think this is? Isn't it? You hold my life in your hands. I hold a riddle. It's not much, but it's something. You hold more than you realize. His voice has changed softer now, almost thoughtful. Do you know what most servants do when they accidentally enter my chambers? They beg, they plead, they offer me anything and everything if I'll just spare them. Gold, information, their bodies. Disgust threads through the words. But you offered me a game. I thought you might be bored. I am. The admission sounds like it costs him something. I am so profoundly, devastatingly bored that some days I consider burning the entire castle down just to feel something new. The casual violence of the statement should terrify me. Instead, I find myself saying, "Why don't you?" He laughs, that same dark, rusty sound. "Because I'm trapped here as surely as you are. Just a different kind of cage. The curse," I say before I can stop myself. The temperature in the room drops. "What do you know about a curse?" "Nothing, just servants talk. They say you're cursed, that something happened to you. Servants should learn to keep their mouths shut." His voice has gone cold again. Dangerous. "What else do they say?" "That late at night, you rage, break things, that we should stay in our beds and pretend we're deaf. Good advice. You should follow it. After tomorrow night, I might not have a choice." Another pause. Then he moves fully into the moonlight, and I see him clearly for the first time. He's not human, not even close. The shape is vaguely man-like, 2 arms, 2 legs, upright posture. But everything else is wrong. He stands at least 7 feet tall, his body covered in dark fur that seems to absorb light. His hands end in claws that look capable of rending stone. His face is wolf-like but elongated, wrong, caught somewhere between human and animal in a way that shouldn't exist. And his eyes golden and burning with intelligence that's far too human for that monstrous face. "This is what you bargained with," he says, his voice surprisingly gentle. "This is what hunts through my chambers at night, breaking furniture and howling at nothing. Still think you made a good deal, little wolf. I should be terrified. Every instinct I have should be screaming at me to run. But I remember Kieran's beautiful face twisted with disgust as he rejected me. I remember my mother whispering that I was shameful. I remember Benedict looking at me like I was merchandise. And I realize monsters come in many forms. At least this one is honest about what he is." "Yes," I say. "I think I made a good deal." He stares at me for a long moment. "You're either very brave, or very stupid." "You said that already, Your Majesty." "Don't interrupt me." "Sorry, Your Majesty." Is that amusement in his eyes? It's hard to tell with that face. "Why are you here?" he asks suddenly. "In this castle, servants don't just volunteer for this position. You were sent, traded. What did you do to deserve exile?" "I existed," I say simply. "I was born wrong. Defective. Couldn't shift. Couldn't be useful. My mate." The word catches in my throat. My fated mate rejected me publicly. My family had debts, so I was sold to pay them. "Your mate rejected you." He says it flatly, like he's testing the words. "A fated bond?" "Yes, fool." The word is so unexpected that I blink. "Your Majesty? Your mate. He's a fool." The beast moves to the windows, looking out over the mountains. Fated bonds are rare, sacred. To reject one because of something as trivial as the ability to shift. He trails off. "What pack?" "Silvercrest." His whole body goes rigid. "Ashwood. You know him?" "I know of him. Young, ambitious, more concerned with appearance than substance." He looks back at me. "He rejected you to take a different mate?" "My sister, she's everything I'm not. Strong, beautiful, perfect, perfect." He spits the word like a curse. "Let me tell you something about perfection, little wolf. It's a lie, a pretty cage that people build to feel safe. But safety is an illusion, and perfection is just another word for cowardice." I don't know what to say to that. He turns fully to face me. "Tomorrow night. Same time. Bring your second answer." "And Callista?" "Yes, Your Majesty." The servants talk about me raging at night, breaking things. But do you know what I'm actually doing during those hours? "No, Your Majesty." "Reading, thinking, trying to solve problems that have no solutions. The breaking that's incidental, a side effect of frustration." He moves closer. And up close, he's even more imposing. "You're the first person in 3 years to see me like this. The first person I've spoken to as myself rather than through intermediaries. Do you understand what that means? That I'm either very lucky or very doomed." Another laugh. "Both. Definitely both." He gestures toward the door. "Go, before someone notices you're missing, and think carefully about your next answer. You only have 2 chances left. I curtsy. It feels absurd given the circumstances. But protocol is protocol, and move toward the door. Callista. I pause. The riddle. You were close with your first guess. Keep thinking about promises. About things given freely but binding absolutely. About invisible chains. It's a hint. He's helping me. Thank you, Your Majesty. Don't thank me yet. You might still die. I slip out into the corridor, my heart pounding for entirely different reasons than before. I've met the beast. The monster. The cursed king. And somehow, impossibly, I'm not afraid anymore. The next day passes in a blur. I perform my duties mechanically, my mind elsewhere. Things given freely. Invisible chains. Bind the strongest, break the weak. What's given freely but creates obligation? Gift? No, gifts can be returned. Loyalty? But loyalty is earned, not given. Faith? Trust? By evening, I think I have it. By midnight, I'm certain. I return to the red door. It opens before I knock. The chamber is the same, dark, damaged, full of shadows. But he's waiting by the window again, his massive form backlit by moonlight. You look confident, he observes. I think I have it. Then speak. I take a breath. Love. The answer is love. It's given freely, never taken by force. It binds the strongest warriors, breaks the weak-willed. It can last a lifetime or shatter in a moment. And it's invisible, can't be seen or touched, but holds firmer than any chain. Silence stretches between us. Then he moves toward me, each step deliberate. He stops close enough that I can feel the heat radiating from his massive body, can smell pine and smoke and something wild. Wrong, he says softly. My hope crumbles. But closer than before, much closer. He tilts his head, studying me with those burning golden eyes. Love is part of it, but not all of it. You have 1 guess remaining. Use it well. Can you tell me? No hints this time. You're too close. Find it yourself. Your Majesty. Go, Callista. Before I change my mind about giving you a 3rd chance. I leave, frustration and fear warring in my chest. 1 guess left. 1 night to figure out what binds stronger than love, what's given but not taken, what breaks the weak and holds the strong. 1 more chance to save my life. And the terrible part, the part that keeps me awake as I lie in my bed, is that I don't want to die. Not because I'm afraid, though I am, but because I want to see him again. Want to hear that dark, intelligent voice. Want to solve this riddle not just to survive, but because it matters to him. Because somehow, in 2 nights, the cursed king has become more real to me than anyone in my old life ever was. And that's the most dangerous thing of all. Chapter 6. The answer. I don't sleep the 2nd night either. The riddle consumes me. I turn it over and over in my mind until the words lose meaning and reform into something new. I am given but never taken. I bind the strongest, break the weak. I can be kept for a lifetime, or shattered in a moment. Invisible chains that cannot be seen, yet they hold firmer than iron or steel. Not an oath, not love, but something close to both. What's related to love but stronger? What binds absolutely? The answer comes to me just before dawn, sudden and complete. A promise. Not just any promise, but the promise. The kind you make to yourself, to another person, to the universe. The invisible contract that holds you accountable even when no one else knows. The thing that binds your honor, your integrity, your very sense of self. You can give a promise freely, but it can never be taken from you, only broken from within. It binds the strongest people because they value their word above all else. It breaks the weak because they can't bear the weight of keeping it. It lasts a lifetime if honored, or shatters in a moment of betrayal. And it's completely invisible, just words and intention. But somehow stronger than any physical chain. That's it. That has to be it. I'm so certain that I can barely focus on my duties. I scrub the same section of floor 3 times before Marta pulls me aside. What is wrong with you? She hisses. You're going to get us both in trouble. I'm sorry. I need to do something tonight. Something important. Something stupid, you mean. She grabs my arm. Whatever trouble you're in, Walk away from it, please. I've seen too many servants disappear because they thought they were special, thought the rules didn't apply to them. I can't walk away. Why not? Because I gave my word, because I made a deal, because even if I'm defective and broken and unwanted, I still keep my promises. I just can't. I say instead. Marta releases me with a frustrated sound. Fine. Get yourself killed. But don't say I didn't warn you. The third midnight finds me standing outside the red door again. My hands aren't shaking this time. I feel strangely calm, like I've moved beyond fear into something else. Acceptance, maybe, or just exhaustion. The door opens before I touch it. He's waiting in his usual spot by the windows, but tonight he's not shrouded in shadow. Moonlight falls directly across him, illuminating every detail of his monstrous form. It's deliberate, I realize. He's making sure I see exactly what I'm bargaining with. Last chance, he says without preamble. Either you have the answer, or you don't. No extensions, no negotiations. I have it. Then speak. I step further into the room, meeting those golden eyes. A promise. The answer is a promise. Silence. It stretches so long I start to doubt myself. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've just sentenced myself to death. Then he moves. Not toward me, toward the desk in the corner. He lights a candle with a match struck against stone, and the warm light reveals what the moonlight had hidden. Books. Hundreds of them. Scattered across every surface, piled on chairs, stacked against walls. A promise. He repeats softly. Given freely. Binding absolutely. Invisible but unbreakable if the person making it has any honor. He picks up one of the books, running a claw along its spine. I've been asking that riddle for 3 years. To servants, to visiting nobles, to advisors who think they're clever. Do you know how many have answered correctly? No, Your Majesty. You're the first. He sets the book down and turns to face me fully. Everyone else guesses oath, love, duty, faith, things with external validation. But a promise is internal, private. It exists in the space between intention and action, between who you are and who you want to be. So I live? You live. He tilts his head. Did you doubt you would? Yes. Constantly. Good. Doubt keeps you careful. He gestures to a chair, massive thing, clearly built for his size. Sit. We should discuss the terms of your continued survival. Terms? You've proven yourself interesting, little wolf. Intelligent. Brave enough to be foolish. I could use someone like you. I sit slowly, wary. Use me how, Your Majesty? As you are already being used, as a servant. He paces, his movements surprisingly graceful despite his size. But you'll serve me directly, my chambers, my needs. In exchange, you'll have privileges. Access to the library. Better quarters. Protection from the less savory nobles who enjoy tormenting servants. It sounds too good. Why? Why what? Why offer this? You could just let me go back to my normal duties. Why keep me close? He stops pacing and looks at me. Really looks. With an intensity that makes me feel transparent. Because you looked at me this. He gestures to his monstrous form. And you didn't scream, didn't faint, didn't even flinch. Do you know how rare that is? Maybe I'm just good at hiding fear. You're terrible at hiding fear. I can smell it on you, hear it in your elevated heartbeat. He moves closer. But underneath the fear, there's something else. Curiosity. Defiance. You're not afraid of what I might do. You're afraid of what you might feel about it. The observation is so accurate it steals my breath. I'll take your silence as confirmation. He settles into a chair opposite mine, though chair seems inadequate for what's essentially a throne. Let me be clear about what this arrangement entails. You'll attend me in the evenings. We'll talk. You'll help me with correspondence, research, whatever tasks I assign. You'll keep everything you see and hear absolutely confidential. In exchange, I won't kill you, and I'll ensure no one else does either. That's it? Were you expecting something else? Heat rises to my cheeks. The other servants said. They implied that the king keeps humans for other purposes. Other purposes. Understanding flickers in his eyes. Ah, You think I want you for your body, don't you? No. The answer is immediate and almost offended. Look at me, Callista. Really look. Do you honestly think someone like me trapped in this form could even? He trails off. No. I want your mind. Your conversation. Your perspective. Nothing more. Relief and something else, disappointment? Flood through me. Unless you're offering, he adds dryly. I'm not. Good. Then we have an understanding. He leans back. You may call me Theron in private. The titles are exhausting. I don't think. It wasn't a request. Here, in this chamber, I'm just Theron. Not your majesty. Not the king. Just myself. As much of a self as this form allows. The vulnerability in that statement catches me off guard. Theron. I test the name. It feels strange on my tongue. Intimate. Better. Now, since you're here, and we have time to kill, tell me about this mate of yours. The fool who rejected you. Why do you want to know about him? Because I'm curious how someone could be stupid enough to throw away a fated bond over something as meaningless as the ability to shift. He picks up a book and begins flipping through it. Fated bonds are chosen by the moon goddess herself. They're supposed to be perfect matches, complementary souls. What happened? I lean back in the chair, which is ridiculously comfortable. We were never complementary, the bond. It was one-sided. I felt it 3 months ago. But he never acknowledged it. Never even looked at me. He felt it, Theron says with certainty. Bonds don't work one way. He felt it and chose to ignore it. Why would he do that? Because acknowledging it would have forced him to make a choice he didn't want to make. Between duty and desire. Between appearance and truth. He closes the book. Let me guess, your sister is everything a Luna should be. Strong, beautiful, political advantageous. Yes. And you're none of those things. It should hurt, hearing it said so bluntly. Instead, it's almost freeing. No. I'm defective. Weak. An embarrassment. You're none of those things either. He sets the book down. You're intelligent, you solved my riddle. You're brave, you walked into a monster's den and bargained for your life. And you're resilient, you've survived rejection, exile, and 3 days of thinking you might die at any moment. Those aren't the qualities of someone weak. The words hit something deep inside me. Something that's been hollow since Kieran's rejection. You don't know me. I say quietly. I know enough. I know you keep your promises. I know you'd rather die standing than live on your knees. I know you see past appearances to what actually matters. His golden eyes pin me in place. Your mate is a fool, Callista, and his loss is my gain. We talk until dawn. About books, mostly. Theron's read everything: philosophy, history, poetry, military strategy. He quotes passages from memory, argues points with himself, asks my opinions on things I've never even considered. It's intoxicating. No one has ever talked to me like this. Like my thoughts matter. Like I'm worth listening to. When the castle bells ring for dawn, he stands. You should go. Your duties start soon. When should I return? Tonight. Every night, if you're willing. We have years of conversation to catch up on. I stand too, smoothing my apron. I'm willing. Good. He walks me to the door. Up close. His size is overwhelming. He has to be 7.5 feet tall, maybe more. Callista? Yes? Smiling. The riddle. A promise. That's what we've both made now. You promised to keep my secrets. I promise to keep you alive. Those are invisible chains, binding us together. Don't break yours, and I won't break mine. I won't break mine. I believe you. He opens the door. Now go. Before the sun rises and someone sees you leaving the forbidden wing looking entirely too pleased with yourself. I slip out into the corridor, and he's right, I am pleased. More than pleased. For the first time since Kieran's rejection, I feel like I might actually survive this. The days develop a rhythm. I perform my duties with the other servants. Scrubbing floors, changing linens, carrying water. The work is mindless, but it gives me time to think. To process everything Theron and I discuss during our nightly conversations. Because it becomes conversations, plural. Not just one meeting, but many. We talk about everything. Pack politics and human nature. And whether justice exists or if it's just a lie the powerful tell themselves. We debate philosophy and argue about poetry, and once spend 3 hours discussing whether wolves would be better off without hierarchy altogether. Chaos, Theron insists. Complete chaos without structure. Or freedom, I counter. Maybe chaos is just another word for choice. Spoken like someone who's never held power. Spoken like someone who's held it too long. He laughs at that, really laughs, warm and genuine. It transforms his monstrous face into something almost beautiful. The other servants notice the change in my status. I move to better quarters, a small private room instead of the dormitory. My duties shift away from the backbreaking labor toward lighter work. Mistress Vera watches me with suspicious eyes, but says nothing. Marta corners me one evening. "You're his, aren't you?" she says without preamble. "I'm nobody's. Don't lie to me. You disappear every night. You come back smelling like the upper floors. Like him." She grabs my shoulders. "Please tell me you know what you're doing." "I'm surviving." "That's not surviving. That's playing with fire. Do you know what happened to the last servant who caught his attention?" My stomach tightens. "What happened?" "She disappeared. Just gone. They found her uniform in the forest, torn to shreds. They say he lost control. That the beast took over and she cuts herself off. Just be careful, Callista. Whatever you think is happening between you two, remember what he is." I want to tell her she's wrong. That Theron would never hurt me. That he's lonely and brilliant and trapped in a curse he didn't choose. But I say nothing. Because explaining would mean breaking my promise. So I just nod and pull away. 3 weeks into our arrangement, everything changes. I arrive for our nightly conversation to find Theron standing by the window, his posture rigid with tension. "Something's wrong," I say immediately. "The council wants me to take a mate." His voice is flat. "They've been pushing for years, but now they're making it a condition of continued support. Find a mate and produce an heir, or face a challenge to my authority." Can they do that? They can try, and given my condition, they might succeed. He turns to face me. "They're bringing candidates, 3 female wolves from noble bloodlines, strong, beautiful, everything a queen should be." Something cold settles in my chest. When? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 14 more nights of conversation. Then what? He chooses a mate. And I fade back into the servant class. Return to being invisible. That's good, isn't it? I say, trying to sound supportive. "You'll have a mate. The council will be satisfied." "Will I?" He moves toward me. "Will I have a mate? Or just another person who looks at this form and sees a monster? They'll understand the curse. They'll understand that I turn into a beast every night, that I rage and break things and can barely control myself, that I'm trapped between forms, never fully human or fully wolf, that I'm dangerous." His voice drops. "They'll be afraid of me, just like everyone else. I'm not afraid of you. You should be, but I'm not." I step closer. "And maybe that's why this works, because I see you, Theron. Not the beast, not the king. You." He goes completely still. "Callista, I know I'm just a servant. I know I'm defective and broken and nothing special. But these conversations, they matter to me. You matter to me. You don't understand what you're saying. I understand perfectly. My heart is pounding. You asked me what I was afraid of that first night. The truth is, I'm afraid of going back to being invisible. I'm afraid of losing this." I gesture between us. "Whatever this is a king talking to a servant, nothing more. Liar." His eyes flash. "Careful. You told me to call you Theron. You said here, in this chamber, you're just yourself. So let me be just myself too. Let me say that for 3 weeks, I've felt more alive talking to you than I did in 23 years of trying to belong somewhere." Tears prick my eyes. "Let me say that I don't care if you're cursed or monstrous or dangerous. That I'd rather have these conversations with you than a lifetime of safety with someone who looks at me like I'm broken." Silence. Then he closes the distance between us in 2 strides. For a terrifying moment, I think he's going to hurt me. going to prove Marta right and show me exactly what a monster he can be. Instead, he reaches out with one massive, clawed hand and gently, so gently touches my face. "You're going to break my heart, little wolf," he whispers. "How?" "By making me hope." Chapter 7. The next 2 weeks are stolen time. We both know it. Every conversation carries the weight of ending. Every laugh, every debate, every moment of comfortable silence feels precious, because it might be the last. Theron tells me about his childhood, a lonely prince raised to rule, taught that emotions were weakness and compassion was liability. He describes his father, the previous Wolf King, as a man of iron and ice who never once told his son he was proud. "He died when I was 25, Theron says one night, his voice distant. Heart attack during a council meeting, just collapsed. His last words to me were, 'Don't disappoint me.' Then he was gone. I'm sorry. Don't be. He was a terrible father, but he was a good king. I've spent 5 years trying to be both and failing at each." "You're not failing, aren't I? I'm cursed, trapped, unable to appear before my own people in daylight without maintaining an elaborate charade." "Tell me how that's success." I want to ask about the curse, about how it happened, why it persists, what it means. But every time I get close to the question, he changes the subject. Some wounds are too raw to examine. Instead, I tell him about my own childhood, about growing up defective in a world that valued strength above all else, about the healers and rituals and desperate attempts to fix something that couldn't be fixed. "They meant well," I say. "My parents. They really thought if they just found the right cure, I'd be normal." "Normal is a prison," Theron says. "It's a word people use to crush anything that doesn't fit their narrow definition of acceptable." "You sound like you've given this thought." "I've had 5 years of isolation to think about very little else." We're sitting in our usual spots, him in his throne-like chair, me in the smaller one he brought in specifically for our conversations. A chessboard sits between us. He's teaching me to play, though I'm terrible at it. "Check," he says, moving his knight. I study the board, searching for an escape. There isn't one. "You're doing this on purpose, making me lose to teach me humility." "I'm doing this on purpose to teach you strategy. Every loss is a lesson, if you're willing to learn from it." "What lesson am I supposed to learn from being completely outmaneuvered?" "That sometimes the game is lost before you even realize you're playing." He leans back. "That's what happened to me. With the curse. By the time I understood what was happening, it was already too late to stop it." This is the closest he's ever come to explaining. I hold my breath, afraid that speaking will break the moment. "I was 28, he continues quietly. 3 years after taking the throne. Young. Arrogant. Convinced I could reshape the kingdom into something better. More just. More equal." His laugh is bitter. "I made enemies. Powerful ones." "What did you do?" "I tried to abolish the practice of keeping humans as indentured servants, called it slavery, which is what it was. The old noble families were furious, their wealth was built on human labor. They came to me with gifts, with bribes, with threats. I refused them all. That was brave. That was stupid. Brave would have been finding a way to change the system without threatening the entire power structure." He stares at the chessboard. "A witch came to me. Old nobility, from a family I'd stripped of their human holdings. She offered me a choice. Reverse my decree, or face consequences. You refused." "Of course I refused. I was the king. What could she do to me?" His voice drips with self-loathing. "So she cursed me, said that since I wanted to protect humans so badly, I should experience what it's like to be treated as something less than human, less than wolf, a beast." The pieces click into place. "You transform. At night. Every night, from sunset to sunrise, I become this." He gestures to his monstrous form. Neither human nor wolf, something in between, something wrong. "And during the day," he stops abruptly. "During the day?" I prompt. "During the day, I'm human. Completely human. No wolf at all. No enhanced senses. No strength. No connection to the moon. Just A man. The word sounds like an admission of defeat. The irony isn't lost on me. She took the very thing that made me wolf and twisted it into my prison. Can it be broken? Every curse can be broken. That's the cruelty of them. They come with conditions, possibilities of redemption. The witch told me mine would break when someone could love both forms equally, when someone looked at the beast and the man and chose them both, understanding Dawn's cold and terrible. The mate candidates, he confirms. They'll see me as I am during the day, human, weak, then they'll see this at night, and they'll understand what they're being asked to accept. Maybe one of them, none of them will. His certainty is absolute. They'll be polite. They'll try, but eventually, they'll look at me with fear, or pity, or disgust, and I'll see the truth in their eyes, that I'm unlovable in both forms, too weak as a man, too monstrous as a beast. You're not unlovable. Callista, you're not. I stand, moving toward him. These weeks we've spent together, do you think I would have kept coming back if I found you monstrous? If I thought you were unlovable? You don't understand what you're saying. Stop telling me that! Frustration boils over. I'm not a child, Theron. I know my own mind. I know. I cut myself off before I say too much. But his eyes are too sharp. You know what? The words are trapped in my throat. Dangerous words. Words that could change everything or ruin it completely. I know that when I'm with you, I feel whole, I whisper. Even though I'm broken, even though I can't shift and I'm nobody's mate and I'm just a servant. When we talk, when we laugh, when you look at me like you're doing now, I feel like I matter. Like I'm exactly what I'm supposed to be. Callista. My name sounds like a prayer and a warning. You need to stop. Why? Because you're making me want impossible things. Like what? Like you. The admission hangs between us, raw and vulnerable. Then have me, I say. I can't. He stands, towering over me. You're my servant. I'm your king. The power imbalance alone makes anything between us complicated. I know. But you're not some noble taking advantage. You've never touched me except that once, and then so gently. You've never demanded anything I wasn't willing to give. You've treated me with more respect than anyone else in my entire life. That doesn't make this right. Maybe not. But it makes it real. He stares at me for a long moment. Then, slowly, he reaches out and cups my face with both massive hands. His claws are careful, gentle, framing my cheeks without breaking skin. If I were cursed differently, he says quietly. If I could offer you something more than stolen conversations and a monster in the darkness. I don't want different. I want this. I want you. You don't know what you want. You're confused. Lonely. You're conflating gratitude with, I kiss him. It's awkward. His mouth is all wrong for it, too large, too angular, more muzzle than lips. But I press my mouth to his anyway, pouring everything I feel into the gesture. For one heartbeat, he's frozen. Then he kisses me back. It's nothing like kissing a human would be. His tongue is rough. His teeth are sharp. But his gentleness is absolute. He holds me like I'm precious. Like I'm something that could break. When we finally pull apart, we're both trembling. That was a mistake, he whispers. Probably. We can't do this. I know. The candidates arrive tomorrow. I know that too. He rests his forehead against mine. I don't want them. I don't want you to want them. But I have to choose one. The council has made that clear. No mate means a challenge to my rule. And in this form, at night, I couldn't defend my throne. I'd lose everything. So, choose one. The words hurt to say. Do what you have to do. But don't tell me this meant nothing. Don't tell me these weeks were just a king entertaining himself with a servant. They were everything. He pulls back, and there's anguish in those golden eyes. That's the problem, Callista. They were everything, and now I have to pretend they were nothing. The candidates arrive the next evening. I watch from the servants' corridor as they're escorted into the throne room. 3 women, all breathtaking in their beauty and power. The first is tall and blonde, moving with warrior grace. The second is dark-haired and elegant, clearly from noble blood. The third is red-haired and fiery, her confidence radiating with every step. Any of them would make a perfect queen. None of them are me. Mistress Vera assigns me to serve in the throne room during the introduction ceremony. Probably a calculated cruelty. She's noticed my elevated status and wants to remind me of my place. I carry trays of wine and delicacies, keeping my eyes down like a good servant. But I listen. Your Majesty, the blonde one says her name is Astrid. Thank you for this opportunity. My pack has long admired your reforms. Your reforms are why we're here, adds the dark-haired one, Celine. We believe in what you're trying to build, though we understand the challenges you face, finishes the red-haired one, Lyra. And we're prepared to stand beside you. The voice that responds isn't the one I know. It's human, refined, cultured. I look up without thinking, and my world tilts. The man on the throne is beautiful. Dark hair, sharp features, strong jaw. He wears royal regalia that emphasizes his broad shoulders and commanding presence. Every inch of him radiates authority and power. And his eyes are the same burning gold. Theron. This is Theron during the day. Theron as a man. No one told me. He never mentioned how strikingly handsome his human form was. How different. I watch, frozen, as he greets each candidate with practiced charm. He's good at this, the political maneuvering, the careful compliments, the suggestions of interest without commitment. He's everything an alpha should be, everything Kieran pretended to be. And I'm just a defective servant girl who fell for him in the dark. The ceremony continues. Theron explains the situation with careful diplomacy. I must be honest with you all. I am afflicted. Cursed, to be specific. You'll see what I mean tonight. If any of you wishes to withdraw after that, no offense will be taken. We're not so easily frightened, Astrid says with a smile. We'll see. Theron replies. His eyes sweep the room and land on me, just for a second, but in that second, I see everything: apology, longing, resignation. Then his gaze moves on, and I'm invisible again. That night, I don't go to his chambers. I can't. The thought of seeing him after watching him charm 3 perfect candidates makes me feel sick. But just after midnight, there's a knock on my door. I open it to find Marta, looking harried. You're needed. The king's chambers. Now. I can't. It wasn't a request. She glances around nervously. He's in a state. Breaking things. The candidates heard the noise and asked what was happening. Mistress Vera sent me to fetch you because apparently you're the only one who can calm him. My heart sinks. The candidates know? They know something's wrong. They don't know what. Yet. She grabs my arm. Please. Callista. If he doesn't calm down, they'll demand to see him. And if they see him like that, I follow her through the corridors at a run. The sounds reach us before we arrive, roaring, crashing, the unmistakable sound of furniture splintering. Other servants hover at a safe distance, fear etched on their faces. I push through to the red door. It's closed but not locked. Inside, chaos. The chamber is being systematically destroyed. Books torn apart, furniture smashed, curtains ripped from windows, and in the center of it all, Theron the Beast stands with his chest heaving, claws dripping blood from where he's torn his own hands on broken wood. Get out! He roars when he sees me. I close the door behind me. No. I said get out, and I said no. I step further into the room. Glass crunching under my feet. Theron, stop. You're hurting yourself. I don't care. Well, I do. I move closer, ignoring every instinct screaming at me to run. Talk to me. Tell me what's wrong. What's wrong? His laugh is jagged, broken. They're perfect, Callista. All 3 of them. Beautiful, strong, intelligent. Everything a queen should be. I know. And they looked at me today, at the human me, with interest, with possibility, with everything except fear. He picks up a chair and hurls it at the wall. Do you know what happens tomorrow? I'm supposed to spend the day with them. As a man. Courtship. Conversation. All the pretty lies of romance. That's good, isn't it? And then night falls, and they'll see this. He gestures violently at his monstrous form. And all that interest will die. It always dies. Because who could love this? Who could choose this? I could. The words stop him mid-motion. What? I could, I repeat, moving closer. I do. Choose this. Choose you. Both versions. The man and the beast. The king and the monster. All of it. You don't understand what you're saying. Stop. I grab his massive hand, ignoring the blood and claws. Stop telling me I don't understand. Stop treating me like a child who doesn't know her own heart. I've spent 3 weeks talking to you, laughing with you, learning from you. Do you really think I'd do all that if I didn't care? You're confused, grateful, you're in love with you. The words tumble out before I can stop them. I'm in love with you, Theron. And I know it's stupid and impossible, and you're about to choose a mate from 3 perfect candidates. But you asked for honesty in these chambers, and that's my honesty. I love you, both yous. All of you. He stares at me. And something in his expression breaks. Callista. You don't have to say it back. I know you can't. I know tomorrow you'll choose one of them and this will end. But at least let me say it once. Let me tell you that someone looked at the beast and the man, and chose them both. That someone loved you exactly as you are. Stop. His voice is barely a whisper. Please stop. Why? Because you're breaking the curse. I freeze. What? The curse breaks when someone loves both forms equally. When someone chooses the man and the beast without fear or reservation. When he can't continue. When someone says what I just said. I finish. Yes. We stand in the destroyed chamber, the weight of realization crushing us both. So it's broken? I ask. The curse? I don't know. Maybe. Curses are tricky. There might be more conditions. Or, he pulls away from me. Or the moon goddess is crueler than I thought. What do you mean? You're my servant, Callista. Defective, rejected, unwanted by your own mate. Even if you broke the curse, even if you love me, what kind of life could we have? You'd be the king's consort, a former servant. The nobles would never accept it. The council would revolt. Everything I've built would crumble. The truth of it hits me like a physical blow. But the candidates, they're appropriate. They come from good families. They have political connections. They could stand beside me without causing a civil war. His voice is hollow. So even if the curse is broken, even if you love me, I still have to choose one of them. No. The word escapes before I can stop it. I have to. No, you don't have to do anything. You're the king. You make the rules. The king serves his people. And his people need stability, not scandal. So what was all this? I gesture at the space between us. What were these 3 weeks? Just entertainment? Until the real options arrived? You know that's not. Then what? Tell me what this was, Theron. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you let me fall in love with you knowing you'd never choose me. His silence is answer enough. I turn and walk toward the door. Callista, wait. I'll return to my normal duties tomorrow, I say without looking back. You won't have to see me again. You can court your perfect candidates in peace. That's not what I want. But it's what you're going to do anyway. I leave before he can respond. Before the tears I've been holding back can fall where he can see them. Behind me, the sound of destruction resumes. Louder than before, more desperate. But I don't go back. I've already given him everything. My trust. My time. My heart. And he's chosen politics over all of it. Just like Kieran chose my sister. Just like my parents chose their reputation. Just like everyone always chooses something anything over me. Chapter 8. 1 year later. The cottage sits on the edge of the neutral territories, far from any pack's jurisdiction. It's small, just 2 rooms, and a hearth. But it's mine. Paid for with wages Theron arranged before I left the castle. Even in exile, he takes care of me. I hate that I still love him for it. The morning is gray and cold, autumn bleeding into early winter. I'm sitting at my small wooden table, transcribing a manuscript for a human merchant who doesn't ask questions about why a wolf-kind woman lives alone in the wilderness. The work is tedious, but it pays, and it keeps my mind occupied. Mostly occupied. I still think about him every day, every night. Wonder if he chose one of the candidates. Wonder if the curse broke. Or if he's still transforming. Wonder if he ever thinks about the defective servant girl who loved him in the darkness. A knock on my door interrupts my brooding. I'm not expecting anyone. The merchant isn't due for another week, and the human villagers 3 miles south generally leave me alone. I've made it clear I want solitude, and they respect that. I open the door to find Marta. She looks older than I remember, more lines around her eyes, gray threading through her hair, but her expression is the same mixture of concern and exasperation she always wore when dealing with me. "You're a hard woman to find," she says without preamble. "That was intentional." I step aside to let her in. "What are you doing here?" "Bringing news, and checking to make sure you're not dead in a ditch somewhere." She surveys the cottage with a critical eye. "This is what you left for?" "It's barely a shack. It's peaceful. It's lonely." She sits at my table, uninvited. "But I suppose that's what you wanted." I pour her tea from the kettle on the hearth. "Why are you here, Marta?" "The king is getting married." The words hit me like a fist to the chest. I manage to keep my expression neutral, but my hands shake as I set down the teapot. "Which one?" I ask. "Which candidate did he choose?" "None of them." "None of them?" I look up sharply. "What?" "He rejected all 3. Spent 3 months in courtship, then sent them home with generous gifts and diplomatic apologies." Marta accepts the tea with a nod of thanks. The council was furious. But he's the king. What could they do? "Then who?" "A princess from the Eastern Territories. Serafina of House Morgrave. Beautiful, they say. Elegant. Perfect political match. Her family controls the mountain passes, and an alliance would secure trade routes for decades." I should feel relieved. Should feel vindicated. He didn't choose the candidates. But instead, I just feel hollow. He still didn't choose me. "When?" I ask. 3 days. Autumn equinox. There's going to be a massive celebration. Every alpha, every noble family, representatives from the human kingdoms. Marta watches me carefully. "I thought you should know." "Why? What difference does it make?" "Because I've seen the king this past year, Callista. I've watched him go through the motions of ruling, of courtship, of choosing a mate, and I've seen the way he looks when he thinks no one's watching, like something inside him died. That's not my concern anymore. Isn't it?" She leans forward. "He asked about you once, about 6 months ago. Wanted to know if you were well, if you needed anything. I told him you were fine, that you'd found peace." "I have found peace. You've found isolation. That's not the same thing." She stands. "I don't know what happened between you two. The servants gossip, but no one knows for certain. What I do know is that you both looked alive when you were together. And now you both look like you're just surviving. What do you want me to do, Marta? Storm the wedding? Declare my love in front of 300 nobles? I'm a servant. A defective wolf. Even if he wanted me, which clearly he doesn't, it would destroy everything he's built. Maybe some things need to be destroyed before they can be rebuilt properly." She moves toward the door. "The wedding is in 3 days, at the castle. If you wanted to attend, I could arrange for you to be included in the servant retinue. No one would question it. I'm not going. That's your choice. But Callista?" She pauses at the threshold. "Don't let fear make your decisions. You've already lost so much. Don't lose the chance to at least tell him the truth one more time." She leaves before I can respond. I stand in my cottage, surrounded by silence and solitude, and realize I'm crying. 2 days later, I'm still thinking about Marta's visit. I tell myself I'm not going. That attending Theron's wedding would be masochistic. That seeing him pledge himself to another woman would break whatever small piece of my heart still functions. But I can't stop thinking about his face in the darkness. His voice saying, "You're going to break my heart, little wolf." His kiss, gentle despite his monstrous form. I can't stop thinking about the question he never got to ask. The riddle had 3 parts. Given freely, binding absolutely, capable of lasting forever, or shattering in a moment. A promise. And what's a marriage ceremony but the ultimate promise? Given before witnesses, meant to last a lifetime, breakable only through death or betrayal. He's going to stand before everyone and make a promise to someone who isn't me, and I'm going to let it happen because I'm too afraid to fight for what I want. Just like I let Kieran reject me without protest. Just like I let Benedict sell me without argument. Just like I've let everyone in my life tell me I'm not enough. And I believed them. The realization hits me with sudden clarity. I've spent my entire life accepting what others decided I deserved. Maybe it's time to decide for myself. The journey to the castle takes a day and a half on foot. I arrive the evening before the wedding, exhausted and filthy from the road. The castle is transformed. Banners fly from every tower. Lanterns illuminate every window. The courtyards are filled with carriages and horses and nobles in their finest clothes. I find Marta in the servants' quarters. She doesn't look surprised to see me. "I knew you'd come," she says simply. "I need to see him. Before the wedding. Just once." "That's not possible. He's in the royal wing, surrounded by advisors and family members." "You'd never get close." "Then I'll see him at the ceremony." "And do what? Object when they ask if anyone opposes the union?" Marta shakes her head. "They'll have you removed. Possibly arrested." "I don't care." "Yes, you do. You care very much. That's why you're here." She studies me for a long moment. "There might be another way. The ceremony is in the grand hall. Servants will be present to serve wine, manage the feast. I can get you in as part of the retinue. And then you wait for your moment. If it comes, you'll know." The wedding day dawns clear and bright. I'm dressed in standard servant livery, black dress, white apron, my hair pulled back severely. I look like every other servant, invisible and interchangeable. Perfect. The grand hall is magnificent. Thousands of candles, flowers everywhere, white roses and moonflowers. Every seat is filled with wolves in their finest clothes. Alphas, betas, nobles from a dozen different packs. At the front, on a raised platform, stands Theron. He's in his human form, it's daylight, so of course he is. He wears formal regalia, all black and silver. And he's devastatingly handsome. Regal. Every inch the Wolf King, but his eyes are empty. I position myself along the wall with the other servants, trying not to stare, trying to breathe normally. Music begins. The crowd rises, and Serafina enters. She's ethereal, pale skin, silver blonde hair, wearing a gown that looks like it's made of moonlight itself. She moves with practiced grace, her smile serene and confident. She's everything I'm not, everything a queen should be. The ceremony begins. A high priest speaks about the sacred nature of the mate bond, ironic, since this isn't a fated bond at all, just a political arrangement. He talks about duty and honor, and the responsibilities of leadership. No one mentions love. Serafina takes Theron's hands. They face each other, while the priest continues his litany. "Do you, Theron Blackthorn, king of the Northern Territories, take this woman as your mate and queen? Do you promise to honor her, protect her, and stand beside her for all your days?" Theron's jaw tightens. The doors to the hall explode inward. Not metaphorically. Actually explode. Armed wolves pour through 20, maybe 30 of them. They move with coordinated precision, spreading through the hall. Guests scream. Guards rush forward. And then I see him. Kieran. My former mate stands at the head of the attackers, his face twisted with rage. "This wedding is a sham," he roars. "King Theron has been lying to you all. He's cursed, defective, unfit to rule." Chaos erupts. Nobles scramble for exits. Guards draw weapons. The priest tries to maintain order, but his voice is lost in the noise. Theron moves in front of Serafina, protective. "Stand down, Ashwood. You're committing an act of war." "Am I? Or am I exposing a fraud?" Kieran gestures to his wolves. "Tell them, Your Majesty. Tell them about the curse. Tell them how every night you transform into a monster. Tell them how you're more beast than man. My condition is not relevant to my ability to rule. Your condition makes you weak." Kieran's eyes gleam with ambition. "A cursed king cannot defend his throne. And since you've conveniently refused to take a strong mate, you've left yourself vulnerable. The council will see that. I'll make sure of it. This isn't about truth or honor. This is a coup." Kieran's wolves move closer to the platform. The king's guards form a protective barrier, but they're outnumbered. More importantly, they look uncertain. Cursed. The word spreads through the crowd like poison. Theron stands his ground, but I can see the calculation in his eyes. He's assessing his chances, realizing he might lose. And then Kieran draws a crossbow. "Don't make this messier than it needs to be," he says, aiming at Theron's heart. "Abdicate, walk away. I'll take the throne and unite the packs properly, the way a real king should. Everything happens at once. I'm moving before I decide to move." Pushing through the crowd of servants, running toward the platform. "Callista, no!" Marta's voice behind me, but I don't stop. Kieran's finger tightens on the trigger. I throw myself between Theron and the crossbow. The bolt hits me in the shoulder, spinning me sideways. Pain explodes through my body, white-hot and overwhelming. I hear screaming mine, maybe, and then strong arms catch me before I hit the ground. "No, no, no," Theron's voice, raw with panic. "Callista, what have you done?" "Stopped him," I gasp. Blood soaks through my dress, hot and sticky. "From killing you." "You foolish," he can't finish. His hands are shaking as he tries to staunch the bleeding. Around us, the hall has gone completely silent. Kieran lowers the crossbow, staring at me with something like recognition. "You, the defective one." My hay cuts himself off. "Why would you?" "Because I love him." The words come easily now, with death possibly moments away. "Because he's worth saving, because he's a better king and a better man than you'll ever be." Kieran's face twists. "He's cursed. So am I." I look up at Theron, whose human face is streaked with tears. We're both broken, but we chose each other anyway. And then, as I watch, something impossible happens. The sunlight streaming through the windows shifts. Dims. Like night is falling hours too early. No, not night. Magic. Theron's body begins to change, but not into the beast I know. Into something else. Into both forms at once. Somehow. His features sharpen. His eyes blaze gold. Power radiates from him in waves that make the air shimmer. The curse isn't breaking. It's transforming. "You need to leave," Theron says to Kieran. His voice is layered now, human and beast at once. "Now. Before I forget, I'm supposed to be civilized. You're a monster." "Yes." Theron stands, still holding me against his chest. "I'm a monster, and you just tried to murder my mate." The word mate silences the entire hall. "She's not your mate," Kieran sputters. "She's defective, rejected. She was mine and you rejected her, which makes her available." Theron's smile is all teeth. "And she just saved my life. Declared her love publicly. Fulfilled every condition of the curse, not to break it, but to master it. So yes, Kieran Ashwood, she's my mate, my queen, and you just committed an act of war against the crown." The king's guards finally move, surrounding Kieran and his wolves. The coup attempt collapses as quickly as it began, but I barely notice. The pain in my shoulder is fading, replaced by a strange warmth. The mate bond, not the torn, broken thing I felt with Kieran, but something new. Something whole. It floods through me like sunlight, connecting me to Theron in ways I didn't know were possible. "The curse," I whisper. "Did it break?" "No. Better." He looks down at me, and his transformed face is beautiful in its own way. "It integrated. I can control it now. Choose when to shift, when to be human, when to be this. Because you loved me enough to see past the binary, to accept that I could be both. I told you I did. You did. And then you proved it by taking a crossbow bolt for me, which was incredibly stupid, by the way. You're welcome." He carries me toward the platform, where the high priest stands frozen in shock. Serafina has retreated to a safe distance, looking equal parts relieved and annoyed that her wedding was interrupted. "New plan," Theron announces to the assembled crowd. "Serafina of House Morgrave, I apologize, but I cannot marry you. My heart belongs to another." "Clearly," Serafina says dryly. "Though I wish you'd figured that out before I traveled 3 weeks to get here. I'll make reparations. Triple the bride price. Exclusive trade agreements. Whatever you want. I want to go home and tell everyone I dodged an absolutely chaotic marriage. She inclines her head. But the trade agreements would be appreciated. Theron turns to the priest. Can you modify the ceremony? Same vows, different bride? The priest looks at me, bloody, defective, obviously common, and then at Theron's transformed face. He's clearly reconsidering his career choices. I suppose, he manages. Excellent. Theron sets me down carefully, keeping one arm around my waist to hold me upright. Callista, will you marry me? Right now, in front of all these witnesses, with absolutely no time to think about what a terrible idea this might be? I laugh, which makes my shoulders scream in protest. That's the worst proposal I've ever heard. It's the only proposal you've ever heard. Fair point. I look up at him, at his impossible face that's somehow both human and beast, beautiful and monstrous. Ask me the riddle. Understanding lights his eyes. Very well. I am given but never taken. I bind the strongest, break the weak. I can be kept for a lifetime, or shattered in a moment. What am I? A promise, I say. And yes, Theron, I'll marry you, I promise. The ceremony is chaos. Half the nobles are still processing the coup attempt. The other half are scandalized that their king is marrying a servant. Kieran and his wolves are being escorted to the dungeons. Serafina is negotiating trade agreements with Theron's advisors. And I'm standing on a platform in a blood-soaked dress, holding hands with a transformed wolf king, making promises that will bind us for life. The priest rushes through the vows, clearly eager to finish before anything else explodes. Do you, Theron Blackthorn, take this woman? I do. As your mate and queen. I do. To honor and protect. Yes, yes, I do. Get to her part. The priest turns to me, flustered. And do you, Callista? Thorn, I supply. Callista Thorn, take this man as your mate and king? I look at Theron. At his gold eyes that see me completely. At his hands holding mine with infinite gentleness despite the claws. I do. Then by the power vested in me by the moon goddess herself, I declare you married. Yes, we're married. Theron pulls me against him and kisses me before the priest can finish. This kiss is different from our first one in his chambers. It's public, binding, a promise made flesh. When we finally break apart, the hall is silent. Then someone starts clapping. Slowly at first, then louder. I look over to see Marta, tears streaming down her face, applauding with fierce joy. Others join in. Not everyone, some nobles look apoplectic. But enough. Enough to matter. Well, Theron murmurs against my ear. That could have gone worse. You're right. I could have died. Don't joke about that, ever. He holds me tighter. You were willing to die rather than let Kieran take the throne. That's different. How? Because I'm expendable. You're not. That's the stupidest thing you've ever said. And you've said a lot of stupid things. He laughs, really laughs, warm and free. The sound fills the hall like music. Come on, he says, scooping me up again. Let's get that shoulder treated before my new queen bleeds to death at her own wedding. What about the feast? The celebrations? They can celebrate without us. I've spent a year pretending to be something I'm not. I'm done pretending. He carries me toward the exit. Besides, we have a promise to keep. Which promise? All of them. Epilogue. 1 month later. I wake in our chambers, not the destroyed room from my servant days, but the royal suite in the eastern tower. Sunlight streams through windows that overlook mountains stretching endlessly toward the horizon. Theron is already awake, sitting at his desk reviewing documents. He's in his human form this morning, though I know he'll shift to his integrated form this evening. He's learned to control it, to move between forms as easily as breathing. The curse didn't break. It evolved, became something he could master rather than something that mastered him, much like everything else in our new life. You're staring, he says without looking up. I'm admiring. There's a difference? Not really. He sets down his papers and turns to face me. Even in human form, his eyes are that same burning gold. How's the shoulder? I roll it experimentally. The wound healed weeks ago, thanks to the pack healers and, if I'm honest, the mate bond that now pulses between us constantly. Perfect. Good. Because we have a situation. My stomach tightens. What kind of situation? The diplomatic kind. Apparently, your former pack wants to re-establish relations. They've sent a representative to discuss trade agreements. His smile is sharp. Care to guess who? No. Your sister, Mira. The one who stole your mate and your place. I sit up slowly. She's here? In the guest wing. She arrived this morning with a formal delegation. Lots of groveling about misunderstandings and renewed alliances. He watches me carefully. Do you want to see her? Do I? A month ago, the answer would have been no. Would have been never. The thought of facing Mira after everything that happened after Kieran's coup attempt, after learning that he'd been planning to overthrow Theron all along, would have been unbearable. But now I'm queen. Now I have a mate who looks at me like I hung the moon. Now I have purpose and power and a future that's mine to shape. Yes, I say. I want to see her. Not because I need closure or revenge, but because I want her to see what she missed. What they all missed when they looked at me and saw nothing. Theron crosses to the bed and pulls me into his arms. You're vicious when you're confident. I love it. I learned from the best. Flattery will get you everywhere. That's the plan. We stay like that for a moment, tangled together in sunlight and silk sheets. Then he pulls back with a sigh. We should get dressed. The council meeting starts in an hour, and they're already nervous about the changes we're implementing. Let them be nervous. Change is uncomfortable. Spoken like a revolutionary. I learned that from you too. He grins, that smile that transforms his entire face, makes him look younger, lighter. Come on, my love. Let's go rule a kingdom and terrify your sister. In that order. The meeting with Mira happens in the throne room. I wear my crown, a delicate thing of silver and moonstone and formal regalia that makes me look every inch the queen. Theron sits beside me on his throne, in his integrated form today, a reminder to everyone that the curse no longer controls him. When Mira enters, her confidence falters. She's still beautiful, still perfect, but there's something brittle about her now, something strained. Your Majesties, she says, dropping into a curtsy that's just a beat too late to be properly respectful. Mira Ashwood, I say, using her married name deliberately. What brings you to our court? I come on behalf of the Silvercrest pack. Alpha Ashwood extends his greetings and hopes to re-establish. Alpha Ashwood, Theron interrupts, his voice cold, attempted to murder me and usurp my throne. Why would we re-establish anything with a traitor? Mira's composure cracks slightly. That was a misunderstanding. Kieran was misled, fed false information about your Majesty's condition. He thought he was acting in the best interest of. He thought he could seize power. I correct gently. And he failed. Now he's serving 10 years in the southern work camps for attempted regicide. I assume you're aware? Yes. The word is barely a whisper, and yet you came anyway, on behalf of the pack that rejected me, sold me, and then tried to kill my mate. I lean forward slightly. Why should I care what happens to Silvercrest? Because, Mira swallows hard, because your family. The word hangs in the air. Family. I repeat. Family stood beside Kieran when he rejected me publicly. Family said nothing when Benedict sold me to pay debts I didn't incur. Family chose you over me every single time it mattered. Callista, please. Queen Callista, Theron corrects sharply. You address her properly, or you leave. Mira's face flushes. Queen Callista. I'm sorry. For everything. For not standing up for you. For taking what should have been yours. For, her voice breaks, for being so blind that I couldn't see what he was. And what is he? A monster. Not like, she gestures at Theron. Not like His Majesty, who's honest about his nature, but the hidden kind, the kind that smiles while destroying everything around him. There's real pain in her voice. Real regret. Part of me, the part that remembers growing up with her, that remembers when we were children before hierarchy and defects mattered, feels sympathy. The rest of me remembers standing in that ceremonial hall, while my mate and my sister celebrated their future together. I forgive you, I say finally. Mira's eyes widen with hope. But I don't forget, and I won't help Silvercrest. Your pack made its choice when it chose Kieran over honor, when it chose appearance over integrity. Those choices have consequences. But the pack members, they're innocent. They need a new alpha. Someone who understands that strength isn't the same as cruelty. That leadership requires sacrifice. I stand, and Mira automatically steps back. Here's what I'll offer. The Wolves of Silvercrest may petition to join other packs. We'll facilitate the transitions. But the pack itself? It's dissolved. No more Silvercrest. No more Ashwood legacy. You can't. I can. And I just did. I move down from the platform until I'm standing directly in front of her. We're the same height, but somehow I feel taller. You wanted me to care because we're family. Fine. As family, I'm telling you the truth. Silvercrest was rotten long before Kieran's coup. It was rotten when it taught us that being different meant being worthless. When it sold defective wolves to pay debts. When it valued power over people. So you're just going to destroy everything? No. I'm going to give everyone a chance to start over. Somewhere better. Somewhere that won't treat them as disposable. I step back. You're dismissed. Safe passage back to Silvercrest territory is guaranteed. What you do after that is your choice. Mira stares at me for a long moment. Then, quietly, you've changed. Yes, I have. Are you happy? The question surprises me. I look back at Theron, who's watching me with pride and love and infinite patience. Yes, I say. I'm happy, finally. Mira nods once, then turns and leaves. I don't watch her go. Don't feel the need to. That chapter of my life is closed. That night, in our chambers, Theron asks me if I regret my decision. About Silvercrest? No. About any of it. Coming to the castle, taking that crossbow bolt, marrying me in the middle of a coup. He pulls me against his chest. I've given you a complicated life, Callista. More complicated than you would have had if you'd just stayed in exile. SQS. Exile wasn't living. It was just surviving in a different location. Still, I turn in his arms to face him. Do you know what the riddle taught me? The real lesson? What? That promises are only as strong as the people who make them. That binding yourself to someone really binding yourself requires choosing them every single day. Not just once. Not just when it's easy. Every day, through every challenge. And I choose you. Every day. Even on the hard days. Even when politics get messy and nobles complain and former sisters show up asking for things I can't give. I choose you. He kisses me then, deep and thorough. When we break apart, he's smiling. I choose you too, little wolf. Even though you're stubborn and reckless and occasionally infuriating. Only occasionally? I'm being generous. Generous. Is that what we're calling it? He growls, playful and warm, and pulls me back down onto the bed. Outside, the castle sleeps. Inside, we make promises with our bodies that our words already sealed. And somewhere, in the space between heartbeats, I realize, this is what happily ever after actually looks like. Not perfect. Not easy. But real. And chosen. And ours. If you enjoyed this story of rejection, redemption, and finding love in the darkness, you'll love this book, titled Rejected by the Alpha, a glow-up revenge romance that will keep you turning pages all night long. Link is in the description below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next emotional story. What did you think of Rowan and Theron's journey? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next story.